Let me go to the stream.
And we are live. Good day, people. Welcome to our stream. Today I'm joined in stream by John and Smirkus, and I see that Warped Reflection is in the chat. Hi there, Warped. I'm not sure. Should we wait a few more minutes to give people a chance to join in, or do you guys want to get over this as fast as we can so that we can get to the fun stuff of just having fun? Join in, or do you guys want to get over this as fast as we can?
Guess what I once again forgot?
The fun stuff.
Ludicrous Leprechaun says he'll be there in a minute. Here in a minute. Michael Keller's turned up.
Hey, hi there, Michael. Well, that's two viewers that are not us.
Nearly three.
No, nearly three. Well,
yay! I told you, Ludicrous Leprechaun will be along in a minute.
So, yeah, I'm going to wait a little bit longer and talk about dogs, apparently.
And cats. Walt likes dogs and I like cats.
Ah. Well,
we're going to talk about this article, and then the title is Politicians Lie to Us. That opens it up so much more.
It's true, though. Did you know? Hello, Chris.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there was a headline. Politician tells the truth.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, it does happen sometimes. They usually get killed right after.
By mistake.
No. There have been politicians who spoke the truth actually because they wanted us to know, as I said, and then they get killed.
Usually before the message could go out until recent times.
In all fairness, I'm waiting how long it takes before there will be a politician killed again in the UK. I mean, they had one dead not too long ago.
Oh, really?
What's the name of that woman, John? She got stabbed.
Yeah.
A woman too.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. But...
Though I don't think the guy stabbed her for any other reason than that he's an idiot.
Yeah, well...
Hey, Real Ray.
Unfortunately, it's just given the authoritarians perfect ammunition every time anything happens.
Yeah, like raiding a toolbox.
At this point, well, yeah, raiding a toolbox.
Well, no, you see, what it is right, you see, you've got that guy, there's the guy with the white van who totally failed to kill Muslims outside the mosque. Okay, so that's two white supremacists in Britain.
Yeah.
So obviously there's an epidemic of white supremacists in Britain, allegedly.
Yeah. And then they attack people like Tommy Robinson. I know Tommy Robinson isn't his real name, but okay. That's the name he goes by. And you have people attacking Sargon of Akkad.
Oh, Yaxley Lennon, what's his first name? Richard?
Lennon something?
No, Yaxley Lennon is his surname.
Yeah.
Indeed, Leprechaun. There are those people who commit accidental suicide by shooting themselves in the head several times because they have something on the Clintons. I'm not one of those, by the way, just to know. I have nothing on the Clintons other than what that's.
Not only have I nothing on the Clintons, I wouldn't even have something on the Clintons.
Yeah, I don't care enough about them.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, what I know about, especially Hillary Clinton, what I know about her is enough for me not to want to vote for her and not understanding anyone ever wanting to vote for her.
But it's a woman, you know.
Yeah, but she was
First female president.
She was very much against gay marriage until the popular vote said, "Oh no, we are in favor," and then she was always in favor of gay marriage.
Yeah.
She's very much a war hawk. There hasn't been a war that she wasn't in favor of yet. And at the same time, she's complaining how women are the biggest victims of war.
Yeah.
War she no less wants to start. So I'm not sure if the election has gone yet. So the MPs haven't been voted for. So I'm not sure Sargon will win. I'm not even sure if he will get a seat. Nor do I think Tommy will get a seat. but I wonder if they will survive to the election.
Sure.
But what we're seeing happening with Tommy Robertson, and in a lesser extent with Sargon, we saw in the Netherlands, 12 years ago, with Pim Fortuyn.
Oh yeah, he made a couple statements, got gunned down, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been the prime minister of the country after that election,
Oh yeah.
but he got killed.
Now it's the Partij van Forum van Democratie. Got big
So,
recently.
Lijst Pim Fortuyn, and then Lijst Pim Fortuyn still won a lot of seats. But
Mhm.
yeah, without Pim Fortuyn, it didn't do much. That's excuse me.
Bless
No.
you.
And I was just some fucking Dutch person who was scared of retaliation or something, right? Because of what Tim Fortuyn was saying.
No. He was a leftist idiot,
Uh,
which was kind of terrible at the time, because he wasn't only a leftist idiot, he also was a diagnosed autist. And I worked with people with autism, and they really felt bad, because all of a sudden half of the Netherlands thought that autists were murderous bastards. This is
Haven't
not.
they seen Rain Man? Come on.
Well, not all autists are Rain Man. Hell, hardly any.
No, Rain
here,
Man
here. One
wouldn't
right
hurt to fly. That's the point. So if you say
No.
that autists are dangerous, and they say, haven't they seen Rain Man? Because
They used to say about autists that they make good soldiers because they don't feel anything.
Which is also bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, in the Netherlands, Pim Fortuyn got murdered. Not long after that, Theo van Gogh got murdered, but he wasn't a politician. He was just,
An artist,
yeah,
pretty much.
pretty much.
He drew Muhammad and got gunned down.
Yep.
Got killed anyway.
And the worst part is, because now when people talk about Pim Fortuyn, they talk about him as if he wanted all the foreigners out of the Netherlands. That's never been his stick. He was against people being in the Netherlands that were obviously misbehaving.
Sure.
But listen, if you came here legally and you behave, and yeah, sure, why shouldn't you be here?
Full is full. Huh?
But if you were breaking the laws, then the same question remained. Why should you be here?
Man, I need to get a drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let me see. Hi there, Real Raven. I did say that. Let's see what's happening in the chat, because I've been... Thank you, Michael Keller, for the Gesundheit bit, by the way. I'll probably not be voting for any cunt in my country. Warped, isn't what's his face? Count Dankula running in...
no, different part of Scotland, probably.
Oh, all right.
I don't know how many constituencies there are in Scotland.
Yeah, I haven't got a clue about the English system anyway.
It's not England, it's Scotland.
Yeah, but it's the same system, isn't it?
No, it's Scotland. Don't upset the Scots by calling them England. It's not nice.
The last time I was in Scotland, they nearly started a fight with me because they thought I was English.
Yeah. Back.
Isn't it right? Isn't what, Michael?
It's obviously those thousands of white supremacist Germany.
Dude, it's just so funny with Trump too. It was like, oh, and the KKK, this and that, and the other thing. It's like, the KKK. Seriously, you're concerned about 5,000 people? Fuck off.
The KKK, come on, man. I mean, there are gangs.
Are they even relevant to this day? You know?
Yeah, there are gangs in America that are more prominently available in their local areas than the KKK is in any area.
Probably committing more violence than them as well.
Oh, no problem there.
Yeah, but apparently, to their brain, if it's a leftist doing the violence, it isn't actually violence.
Shit. Anyway, have we waited long enough to start talking about shit?
Okay.
Well, we have several, got 9 watching, including at least 2 of us.
Okay, all right. I get the hint.
It's all right.
I'm going to share the article. Where am I? This is this. Da, da, da.
I don't know. I was just wondering. I mean, we can talk about whatever.
No, let's get this one over with because John doesn't like the topic anyway.
Hey, Toxic.
It's not that I don't like it, it's just that it bores me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Toxic, did you want to join, by the way? I did send you an invite. By the way, if anyone else wants to join, let me know.
I just wanted to come and hang out, regardless of the topic.
No, that's fine. It's good. I'm just here for cracking very bad jokes.
So, the European Parliament, not too long ago, well, actually last year around this time, Kellogg's, all cereals are racist except for... Oh, for fuck's sake, Renovasio. Hi there, by the way. For fuck's sake. I was going to take a time to get that out of the system.
Aren't we boycotting Kellogg's anyway? There's something wrong with them. Can't remember why now.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? There's a company out there we can support because all of them are doing something cancerous.
They have this mental thing about one of their cereal packets and how it was allegedly racist because something on one of the cereal packets was,
All right. Well, it's possible. I can't remember, to be honest. Anywho, greenhouse gas emissions by country and sector, an infographic by the European Parliament in 2018. And they basically say, I'm not going to read it all, obviously, but check out the greenhouse. Greenhouse emissions in the European Union contribute to accelerating climate change. Because, well, let's just assert that, because we don't really know. Who are the biggest emitters? What sector produces the most emissions? Okay. The first thing how much RAM does my PC have? Plenty. I think 16 gig, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, world air emissions by pollutants. We can see that out of the emissions, methane, which is far worse than carbon dioxide, is 10%. Nitrous oxide and hydrofluorocarbons together are about 8%. Oh yeah, no problem with the tabs, mate. Don't worry about that. And carbon dioxide, which is not the biggest of air pollutants, but it is the biggest because of the numbers, is about 81%. And the thing is, they pretend that they don't know what we can do about that. Now, methane is a bit harder to get out of the air than carbon dioxide. There is a very simple and fast way to deal with carbon dioxide. Anyone wants to interject on anything I've said so far?
No. Not so.
Okay, well, actually, someone said actually. Go on.
No, not so far.
Okay, so then we go back. We go back down. Sorry, we go down. Oh, ludicrous. At least give me a moment. But yeah, but if we get rid of all the CO2, won't we be strangling the trees? Indeed.
Can I just interject a little fact test? Oxygen was originally a toxin.
Still is.
No, it was originally a toxin.
No,
All life, it produced oxygen as a byproduct until life evolved to use oxygen.
Yeah. Yeah. And in all fairness, we know that the main agent that causes aging in the human body are free radicals, which are created in the body.
Yeah, bloody radicals.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though, isn't it? But they're created in the body because of oxygen. Because oxygen is, well, in Dutch they call it zuurstof, which basically translates into
Acid dust.
Yeah, acid dust. Which kind of says it all, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the greenhouse gas emissions by sector. We are looking at the sectors in Europe, and they say that 78% of the energy, 78% of the CO2 and greenhouse gas emissions are from energy. 8.7 from industrial processes and product use, 10% from agriculture, and 3.2% for waste management.
Dude, I used to work in a smithy. We used coal.
Yeah. Real Raven, not zuurstof. Zuur, as in sour. Oxygen is toxic to humans. Indeed, it really is. That's the funny thing. They recognized how toxic it was when they started doing the tests for the flights to the moon. Not into the moon, to the moon. And they realized that if the oxygen level was too high, people would lose their mind.
Mhm.
Yep.
Anyway, back to this. So greenhouse gas emission, 78% is for energy, and 8.7 is industrial processes and product use. So here I am wondering, where are the cars? Do cars fall under that 8.7%? Because it's product use? Or do they fall under the 78%? Because I'm pretty sure they don't fall under agriculture or waste management.
Pretty sure they don't fall under energy.
They will be all drive electric.
Well, yeah, then it would fall under energy. So, but I decided that they probably would have placed it under energy as well. But I am curious. I haven't looked into it. I haven't found any answer. So I was hoping that maybe someone knew. I guess. Well, neither did I, to be honest. Okay. So now we're going to go to the next step. I was going to run through it because there's nothing much to talk about, apparently.
I'll tell everyone, the bigger the country, the more pollution. But
well, that's the funny thing, though. This is the total greenhouse emission per EU country in 2015. And I think it's an estimate. I agree with John on that one. But Germany is twice as big as France. But it's polluting twice as much. And the United Kingdom and France are roughly the same size. I would say France is slightly bigger. I could be wrong.
the British economy is slightly bigger. I found the figures, I told you.
Ah, okay. But the funny thing is, Germany has the most green energy. They have the most solar panels. They're pretty big on wind. And yet still, they're the biggest polluter.
The problem is when you look at size of economy, it doesn't tell you anything about the nature of the economy. And I would suggest that Germany is more successful in manufacturing and chemicals, which is probably going to pollute more than Britain's banking sector, which seems to be our major industry these days.
Yeah, but at the same time, if we look at how do you call it? The production of energy. France creates energy based on their nuclear power plants.
Mm-hmm.
They create no carbon emissions. So how come they're still as big as the UK, where the UK hardly makes any nuclear power? Oh, this is interesting as well. Michael Keller, fun fact, they got all the wind parks there, but they can't transport the power through the country due to the network being so bad. It's even worse than that, Michael Keller. The German system, they've got a huge wind park out in the sea. They didn't have the energy flow out of it. And because of that, to stop the whole thing from degrading really fast, they are running the windmills on diesel power.
The fuck?
So instead of the wind blowing against them and it creates...
Windmill on diesel power.
No, well, that's the thing. an electric power generator is basically an electric engine. If you put stream in on one side, it will start the engine of turning. Mm-hmm. If you turn the engine because of the wind, so you don't put energy in, but it's based on wind, then energy goes the other way. Mm-hmm. But because the energy has nowhere to go, they basically said, well, we can't leave it standing still, because if it stands still, it'll break down. So it has to be moving. So they had diesel generators fitted to the bottom, ran the diesel generators, which in turn created energy so that the wings would start spinning.
Couldn't they just hook one up to another so that one produces the energy and another one uses it?
Hey, are you asking me to outsmart the German government?
Yeah. You're talking about a government who want to produce feminist porn.
Yeah. You know how difficult it is to get a cable from one end of the land to the sea? I actually do, because I've done that in my youth. I worked for a company that laid cable. Mm-hmm. It takes about a day to do, well, the whole north coast of the Netherlands, Friesland, past Friesland and Groningen. How do I know that? Because I did. And they are really thick cables, so it's really not that big a deal. So I don't understand that they don't have it yet, all right, but they don't have it after a week, beyond comprehension. Boggles the mind. But so, yeah, no, they had wind power turbines, and they had to run them by diesel engine to prevent them from breaking down. Hmm? And they have solar plants in Germany as well that haven't been connected to the network either. But if you install solar powered, the government would give you, how do you call it? Subsidies. So they paid for those solar plants, but those solar plants aren't connected to the network yet. So
fucking put a cable down. How hard is that shit?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know either.
Jesus Christ. Hire some Dutch folk.
Well, they're next door to Poland. Crikey. All those Polish builders, they come over to Britain. I'm sure they could do a job in Germany too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But the reason why I bring this all up is because the European Union is trying to follow Canada when it comes to the carbon tax idea. And I mean, I'm in the Netherlands, and as you can see here, boom, 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 Netherlands, we are the 7th biggest polluter in Europe. And I'm like, yeah, maybe we should go solar. Sorry, not solar. We should go nuclear as well.
Do we have nuclear power plants in the Netherlands?
We had one, but they put it on stop, didn't they? It was really a problem, because nuclear power plants don't only make power, they also make isotopes which are used in healthcare. And because Borselen, that's the one in the Netherlands, stopped working for a while, the Dutch hospitals had a problem of getting certain isotopes. Because they're nuclear, so they don't travel that well through Europe, apparently. So yeah, that was quite a stir. When was that? 2 years ago? 1.5? Something like that, I think. The biggest pollution comes from the coffee shops. Well, that's another fun factor when it comes to air pollutions in the Netherlands. A lot of the industry in the Netherlands is situated around Rotterdam and what people often call Westland. But a lot of...
Called what?
Westland.
Oh, okay. Never heard of that.
You're doing well.
Go on.
I'll explain it later. Anyway, they also have a lot of greenhouses there. And there are lots of brilliant people who would say, whoa, wait a second. Greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide. Yeah, it is. Plants love carbon dioxide. Yes, they do. So why don't we make pipes to bring the carbon dioxide from the factories to the greenhouses? which they did,
Huh?
which worked a wonder. So all of a sudden, greenhouse gas isn't just a negative byproduct. They're actually using it. It's not something that you see coming back in this statistics, by the way.
Wait, I kind of missed that. What did they do?
Well, they have greenhouses in the Netherlands where they actually buy the pollutants from big industry.
Uh-huh.
And big factories have pipes that transport the greenhouse gases underground to the greenhouse.
Okay, cool.
Greenhouse gases
The
to the
greenhouse
greenhouse.
plants, and plants like carbon dioxide.
No.
Indeed, it is brilliant.
Yeah.
And you think more people would do the same, but the Netherlands are still quite unique in this, it seems. It's a great idea, though.
Hey, at least we have our cable stitch down.
Sorry?
At least we have our cable situation down.
Yeah. But you'd think more companies would do that, because the Dutch aren't the only one with greenhouses. There are plenty of greenhouses in Germany.
I think the problem is the politicians. They
Yeah.
need to be taken out of the equation.
What did you want to ask, Smirkus?
Aren't there greenhouses fucking everywhere?
I'm not sure if France has a lot of greenhouses. I know there are some in
No, they have some.
yeah, I know there are some in the UK as well. Not a lot, though.
Yeah, we don't have some.
Yeah, you do have some.
Sun.
Oh, you don't have sun. Yeah, but that's
The French have sun. We don't have sun.
the UK has about as much sun as the Netherlands, mate.
Exactly.
We have greenhouses.
And I said, and we have greenhouses because we don't have sun.
Ah, right, okay. See, we often misunderstand each other. I'm sorry, but you're correct. But you'd think that considering how do you call it, CO2 is such a big problem, CO2 was great for greenhouses, we would get more greenhouses to get the CO2 towards. Well, it's one of the main solutions, obviously. And
It helped.
if you look at some of the other stuff, I mean, okay, the Netherlands is the 7th biggest polluter. Yeah, okay, well...
We're not in the top 5, so I'm not worried.
No, we're not even close to the top 3, to be honest.
Only because you're a piddly little insignificant, small country.
Anywho, before we start the Fourth English War. But no, the thing why I find this so very important and this graph so very important is because they are actually thinking in Europe to start taxing the European people based on the carbon production. Because this is something they've been doing in other countries as well, like Canada. And there hasn't been a country in the world where it has a positive effect. But never let reality stop you.
Of course not.
As good socialists know, the government knows best. So the government is already busy to tell you the following. The top greenhouse gas emitters in the world in 2012 are China being number 1, the United States being number 2, and the European Union being number 3. But
Yeah, it was big.
this is a country, this is a country, this is a country, this is a country, this is a country. Everyone else on this list is a country except for the United States, or the United Nations. The European Union. Oh, bloody me. And why do I find this so offensive? Well, if we look here, Canada at 1.2, and then the Democratic Republic of Congo at 800,000. Yeah, not the United Nations, sorry. Between these two is Germany. Germany would be the first on the list after Canada, so that would make it the 1, 2, 3,
The
4.
fourth co-connection.
Sorry?
Co-connection says, where does India fall? He obviously can't read the graphic. It's fourth.
The 4th, yeah. But if you take out the European Union, India would be the third and Germany would be the eighth, which made more sense because Germany is a country. The European Union is not. And then we
That's
go,
what you think.
yes, indeed. And I mean, in all fairness, if we then go on, the UK scores slightly better than the Central African Republic. So those
To be
countries,
fair, the Congo have a shit ton of trees.
and they still pollute such a huge amount.
Yeah, but it's not. Is that offset against all their trees?
No, obviously not. This is merely based on what you pollute, not based on.
Yeah, well, this is part of the problem, isn't it? Because on the one hand, they'll say, "Oh, be carbon neutral," and on the other hand, they ignore whether someone is carbon neutral and only talk about the amount of pollution.
Yeah, this is a great example of that. But going back, you know what? I'll see if I can. Come on, server. Opa, let me see where it is. Politics. Because I made an image based on that is this one. I made an image based on the one you just saw, and I put people back in their place. I did so for my Dutch channel, so the names of the countries given are in the Dutch. But here, China 1, the United States 2, India 3, Brazil 4, the Russian Federation 5, Japan, Canada, Germany.
You got to say one thing though: Canada is not that populous a country, so for it to pollute more than Germany is, and they've got lots of open spaces with tundra and forests and things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you think they wouldn't be so, polluted.
And they have lots of trees.
That's what I said.
So, but this is. I mean, I have no idea how they measured the pollution. I really have an idea that this is something you said pre-stream. They just guesstimated it.
Dude, is it also a factor if the trees are in the right place or not?
I'm sorry, again?
Is it also a factor if the trees are in the right place or not?
No, really.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Like I said in pre-stream, I'm quite ignorant on this subject. I'm usually the question asker, so yeah.
That's all right. But okay, so this is like a top 20. Germany is number 8. Then we have the United Kingdom at number 15, I think, with the Central African Republic, Myanmar, Bolivia, Mexico, all these countries ahead of us. Then Sudan, then France, then Turkey, then Thailand. They only had a top 20, so I kept it at that. I didn't add anything, even though it's easy to say that, well, you could continue, you could show the other countries as well. But they are already doing what they can to make Europeans feel that they are guilty of...
No. You see, I disagree. That original graphic, China, United States, Europe, okay,
I'll get
makes
that
us look good because we have half as many people as the United States, and we pollute only 2/3 as much. So I say we're good. Thank you.
But it's not really true, though, is it? Because if we take all of Europe combined, then we don't have half as many people as America does.
Again, I said half as many people again as America. The EU has more people than the United States, and we pollute 2/3 as much. Therefore, we're good.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if we look at South America, I mean, we've got Bolivia here,
We've got
Brazil here. Those two combined are at about 2/3 of what we do. A little bit more, and there are lots more countries in Latin America. So if we combine all of those combined, rabbit. If we put all those combined, they're probably out polluted as well. But it pissed me off because this is a country, this is a country, this is a continent, this is a country, this is a country, this is a country. I'm sorry, we are so being pushed to believe the whole idea. Look at how bad Whitey is, and it just pisses me off.
Yeah, because those white people in China are the worst, and those white people in India are fourth, and those white people in Brazil are fifth.
But somehow, I have a feeling. Well, obviously China is the worst, but and they actually said this in the Kyoto protocols, and the Paris protocols say the same thing. Well, China is the biggest polluter, but
they're not white, so it doesn't count.
No. Well, basically, they didn't say they're not white, so they don't count. But they did say they're an up and coming industry, so we're not going to limit them. They said the same about all African countries, whereas Europe and the United States, well, obviously, we should be tied down.
Oh, this is all bullshit.
Well, it is.
It's all bullshit.
This is what they're doing, though.
Yeah, I know it's what they're
Because
doing.
Whitey is bad, though?
It's
Or are
bullshit.
you just making that judgment call?
Sorry?
Did you say Smuckers?
So is it really because Whitey is bad, or are you just placing that upon it?
No, it's propaganda.
That's the propaganda.
It's just propaganda.
But what they are doing is saying, look how bad Europe is doing. But if you then look back at what Europe
I say how well Europe is doing.
I would say that too, because look at places like Denmark, Norway. Okay, yeah, Italy is bad. No, actually, it's not. It's a huge economy.
That's what I'm saying. That figure doesn't tell you anything because it's not scaled. That's the problem with it. The point is, when you look at the pollution of the European Union and you look at the pollution of the United States, I think we come off very well. We're doing great. Thank you very much.
And
the end.
As I said, if we look at industry, yes, we have industry that actually creates CO2. Okay, get that CO2 into the greenhouses, which is going to be difficult for places like Italy. But in all fairness, in Poland, yeah, sure, no problem.
I'll tell you what, if you watch the Giro d'Italia today, you wouldn't say that. Pissing it down all day. Cold.
Oh, yeah, but that's something else. I mean, it should rain because plants need rain. Oh, no, wait a second. Plants need Brondo. It's got electrolytes.
It has electrolytes.
And, John, I hope you got the meme value of that one.
Oh, my God. I
No?
love that movie.
No, sorry.
There's a movie called Idiocracy. It's a great movie. It's a funny movie. It really is.
Okay.
It's in the future.
Okay.
Fast future. And they are...
No. Go. You have to tell it right. It's about a guy who's like very dumb for our standards now, you know. And then he gets frozen or some shit. Goes to the future, and everybody is like, and suddenly he is the smartest man alive. And,
okay.
like it's a weird future, and everything needs electrolytes. And yeah, so he's like, "What are you doing? Use water." But it doesn't have electrolytes in it. Plants don't fucking need electrolytes. They need water.
Yeah, so it's kind of...
Okay, I must admit that doesn't sound like my cup of tea, but...
It's a good movie. You should see it.
I don't take film recommendations.
We're heading towards a world like that, man.
Yes, it shows you what SJWs want.
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, if they get what they want, there won't be a civilization to make films, let alone go and see them.
Well, that's also part of the movie, because the most successful movie for 7 years in a row was Ass.
And the president is Terry Crews.
Yes. Oh, it's a great movie. Hi there, On Air Tuck. We're nearly done with our main topic.
Oh, and Hey Next Radio.
We're going back to this thing, and if we look at it, they're talking about like, okay, these are the problems, and I'm not sure how many of you may have noticed, but whenever they talk about the problems of greenhouse gases, they're always talking about what Europeans and the citizens need to do to fix the problems. They're never never talk about what they actually want to do to fix it.
How the fuck are we supposed to fix it?
And that's the problem. The only solution they have for us is that we pay extra taxes. So why? Why would we pay extra taxes? How is that going to help anything?
Yeah, as if paying taxes fixed anything ever.
Yeah, it doesn't. But at least you can feel good.
No, you can't, because you've not got any money anymore because you gave it all in effing taxes.
Yes, and nothing changed. So climate change is still a relative issue. So I am going to check something else. Unfortunately, this is in Dutch. But
That's all right. You can translate for us.
Yeah, I can. I know.
And Smirkers can help.
This is talking about the positive side of nuclear energy and the downside of nuclear energy. And one of the main positive things is this part. 1 kilo of wood creates 1 kilowatt hour of electricity in a normal steam-powered electricity thingy. Because this is another good joke. People think we are no longer in the steam age, but we are, because our electricity still comes from steam turbines.
Isn't that for nuclear as well?
That is for nuclear as well, yeah, because they heat water, and with that heated water, they create steam. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, we're still living in the age of steam, funny enough. But 1 kilo of wood creates a kilowatt hour of steam. 1 kilo of charcoal basically creates 3 kilowatt hours of steam, kilowatt hours of energy. And 1 kilo of uranium delivers 40,000 kilowatt hours of electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't uranium a finite resource as well, though?
No, actually, uranium is pretty common.
Huh.
Nearly all countries have it.
Okay.
So it's one of the more common. Well, not as common as water, obviously, but it's one of the more common.
Not as common as water. It's a heavy element, so it's probably one of the common heavy elements, like lead and gold. They're heavy elements.
I think uranium is more common than gold, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're the 3 common heavy elements. Is my point.
Yeah.
Gold and uranium are pretty close, I think, in their nuclear number thingy.
But then again, I would assume that once we start running out of fucking uranium, like oil and shit, we'll have problems.
We already have replacement for uranium if we need to.
Thorium, right?
Yeah.
SJWs.
Somehow even more common.
They're toxic and glow in the dark. SJWs.
But the funny thing is, out of the 1 kilo of wood, if you burn that to create your energy, you also create a lot of carbon. If you burn 1 kilo of charcoal,
burning carbon creates carbon.
No shit.
But here's the funny thing.
Same with coal. What a surprise.
If you use a kilo of uranium, you do not create carbon at all.
No, you create nuclear waste, right?
Sorry?
Don't you create nuclear waste with that?
Well, you do create nuclear waste, which is, technically speaking, a downside to it, one would say. But nuclear trash
waste
will be radioactive for 100,000 years.
Shoot it in the space.
No, we don't have to do any of that, because we already have ways to burn nuclear waste so that it basically breaks down faster. And I'm talking a little bit faster. We already have thorium-based fuel burners that can burn nuclear waste, and once they burn it in a thorium fuel burner, it only is radioactive for about 100 years. Which is still a decent amount of time, I'll grant you that. But it's nowhere near 100,000 years, so.
uranium that creates jobs.
People with extra fingers,
No, 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 no.
feet.
The fear mongering about nuclear.
I'm joking. Come on, this is comedy.
Yeah, I know, but I still have to take it serious because you
What?
are saying it. There are people who are actually thinking it.
Yep.
If there's anyone like that in our audience, what are you doing here?
No, but even in this article, I'm telling you that nuclear power. Here they say nuclear power stays active for. Sorry, nuclear waste stays active for 100,000 years, but we already know how to shorten that by a factor of 100.
Yep.
And the second, or actually the third negative thing, because the first negative thing is security, but I'm going to ignore security because that's bullshit. Radioactive radiation is bad for you, and this might cause problems, which is true, but the amount of problems they actually have caused is far less than have been estimated. Because if we look at Chernobyl, there are people already living relatively close to Chernobyl, and the air and the land is livable. There are people who are actually eating the vegetables that they are growing on their own land. And this is doable. It's not as bad as people have expected it to be.
It's interesting to see how animals reclaim the whole Chernobyl area as well.
Yeah. Well, nature.
They don't read
there and
warnings.
I only know about that because I often look up stuff to see about wolves, And there's a documentary, The Wolves of Chernobyl. Watch it; it's pretty interesting.
Well, it becomes a natural reserve because people bugger off, and then the animals can move in safe from people.
Oh, yeah.
That too. But the whole radiation problem that people were saying, like, oh well, we can't go to Chernobyl for 10,000 years. Yeah, that's not true, though, is it?
Depends on how close you come to the thing.
Well, actually, you know what the most polluted place is in the area of Chernobyl? It's not the old reactor.
Oh, really?
But the hospital where they treated the first people from the plant, they put all the clothes of those people together in a pile. And then after the buildings, well, because the whole area got abandoned, they left the pile of clothes there. That pile of clothes is more radioactive than the bloody place itself.
Can someone just go in there and burn the clothes?
Well, yeah, but then you would pollute the air or something. It doesn't really matter because if you don't get too close to the clothes, it's not a big deal. I mean, but it's yes, Top Gear went to Chernobyl, enough said. Indeed, John, you could have said that here too, but yeah, you're right. And there, as I said, there are actually people living close to it. Now, they also know, that's Russian fashion.
Weren't they also going to build a dome over Chernobyl?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not quite sure how that turned out, though. Yeah, you can burn them, but you have to burn them in a safe situation, Michael.
Well,
because you can burn.
Burning things is part of the problem, isn't it? We're trying to get away from burning things and releasing carbons into the air.
You can burn nuclear.
True.
You can burn nuclear waste too. Thorium reactors can be used not only to create their own electricity, but they can also burn nuclear waste, and with that take away a lot of the nuclear waste. This is what I said earlier. It reduces the toxicity by a factor of 100, from 100,000 years to 100 years. Actually, that's by a factor of 1,000. Sorry, slight difference. But even if we look at Fukushima, which is the worst relative power plant disaster in our recent history, the people that died during Fukushima that weren't actively working at the plant, because there were people there trying to make the bad situation go less bad, but most people that died were from hospitals of the direct vicinity that were transported immediately because of the fear that something might happen to them. And this emergency transport caused the death of a lot of people. because of the stress and anxieties and whatnot. This created more death than the actual disaster itself. But we don't hear that.
We hear precious little that doesn't fit an agenda.
And that's the worst part. So
yeah, but we're used to it.
I can understand that we don't hear it. I can understand that most people don't think about it. What I can't understand is we have so many answers. If we look at, for example, Ocasio with her Green New Deal.
Why? Why do we have to look there?
Well, because it's the same thing. I can understand people wanting to clean up the act. As I think Renovatio said a moment ago. Actually, Michael Keller said that. Russians are already making oil from plastic again. The Russians weren't the first. The Dutch were the first. Because a Dutch student at, I think it was the Technical University of Delft, found a way to harvest plastic from the sea and reappropriate that plastic. And it was too weakened to be used as a source for
I've just found the flaw. It involves a reappropriation, and that's taboo according to SJWs.
But you could also say it's not reappropriation. You could say it's cleaning up.
No.
Cleaning up the oceans.
Don't use simple words when fancy ones will do.
But the funny thing is, most of the plastic pollution in the seas come from Africa and China.
Mm-hmm.
The Dutch found a way how to harvest that plastic from the sea.
Yeah, by putting a giant machine in one of the in currents, right?
No, it didn't even have to be a giant machine. A few boats, because somehow a lot of the plastic turns up in the same place.
Yeah, currents probably.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We both said currents.
Yeah. Well, so if you harvest those plastics and you can bring them back to fuels, two problems solved in one stone. And
you do realise if you devise a process for taking African plastic and making money from it, the SJWs would lose their shit because there'd be definitely exploitation.
Well, obviously, because no matter what we do, it's exploitation. I can still remember that we all started to use plastic bags because plastic bags were better because too many trees were being chopped down to make paper bags.
Really?
Really?
I don't remember paper bags in the UK. I only remember plastic bags. And given that I've got a decade on you,
well, maybe the Dutch used paper bags longer than you did.
That's what I'm saying. You must have done because always been plastic in the UK in my long life.
And now everybody's like, oh, get a canvas bag.
Yeah, I do.
You can reuse it.
Canvas bags are
I
used.
use hemp.
You had them back then as well.
I have hemp bags.
Big jutezak and so.
Yeah. Check out the German and UK research on breaking down plastic using wax worms. It's a glimmer of hope. I'll look into it. But we already know so much we can do with waste.
Yeah, there's bacteria as well, isn't there, that can digest plastic?
Yeah. We have so many solutions out there when it comes to plastic that I don't understand that there are still people out there that think plastics are a problem. Waste plastics are a problem because of waste. I mean, if we wouldn't throw it out on the street, it wouldn't be such a problem. And, funny enough, in the Western world, we don't. Most of the plastic pollutions come from China and Africa.
Mm-hmm.
When I say most, I'm talking about 90%. And it's not me saying that. That's the bloody World Nature Fund saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can't get more nature and environmental friendly than what they're saying.
Can't
so
you?
I don't understand that.
I wouldn't trust that.
Well, me neither. But hey, listen, if they can pull one over on the Western world, they probably would. Because blaming China and blaming Africa doesn't really make a difference, because the Kyoto protocols and the plastic, the Paris agreements basically said that we're not going to touch those because they are growing economies, so they need a chance to grow.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
It's not so good to focus on blame anyway. Focus on solutions.
I quite agree, 100%.
I agree with you. So we know that there are ways to deal with plastics, right? Because in the chat, people have great solutions, or at least suggestions. So we know how to deal with plastics. The whole nuclear thing, nuclear waste thing, it's bullshit. I mean, a country like France has been running on nuclear power for several decades. Their energy price hasn't gone up in the last 40 years. Well, hardly gone up in the last 40 years. If we look at the energy prices in the Netherlands, or hell, the energy prices in Germany, they went up hugely.
I mean, there's some like murmurs about Rutte wanting to up the prices again.
Yep.
Of course.
I'm paying now. What I'm paying for my electricity in euros is twice the amount I used to pay for my electricity in guldens. The euro is twice expensive as the gulden, and the euro has been here for what, 10 years?
Something like that.
10 years.
Within the first couple of years, the euros caught up to the guldens and doubled its.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's all a scam.
2 gulden, two guilders is €1.
That used to be the case anyway.
It's all a scam, this currency. It's the way the bank
can
cream off more money from you.
It's not backed by anything, so it's worthless.
Yeah, but it's a way of introducing inflation.
Yeah.
See you later, Rail Raven. No, but we're being hounded to pay more, and then we pay more and more and more, and when you think it's enough, you're going to start paying more.
There used to be a theme. There used to be a theme called "Tax the Rich." Now it's "Tax the Poor."
Yeah, because that's more often.
Tax everyone, but especially
and it's the rich who get to make all the policies.
Yeah.
But tax the rich, they'll flee. Capital flight. The poor, however, are stuck.
Hey, but what if everywhere they started taxing the rich more?
Yeah, but that's the trouble, isn't it?
Then it doesn't matter if you flee or not because you're still paying hefty tax.
Well, look at Europe.
Difference anyway.
Liechtenstein, Andorra, Monaco, the Channel Islands, I presume San Marino, all tax havens.
Yeah.
Cayman Islands.
No, in Europe.
Actually, the Netherlands are a tax haven too, but only if you're rich, because if you're poor, fuck you.
Sure.
But that's a problem, because there are countries who literally survive through their tax status attracting very, very rich people.
Yeah, of course.
And the stupidest thing is, the more taxes we give our governments, and the European Parliament is doing everything to become our government as well, the more money we give them, the more money they need, therefore the more money they will tax us.
Oh, yeah. Until they strangle the economies and it all goes belly up.
Whenever taxes come up, I'm always like, dude, tax religion. Get even more money.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers have some dough.
that is true, though, because funny enough, religions in the Netherlands are tax exempt.
Yeah, and the UK, and America, and probably everywhere.
Yeah.
About by its farthest. But anyway.
Isn't that also part of the reason why the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster came? Also as a big fuck you, but also like, hey, look at all the shit I don't have to pay now.
Probably. Can't remember, but yeah, it's true. Maybe true. But the funny thing is, we have the solutions. I mean, plant more trees to deal with the carbon.
Oh, well, what?
Close governments.
If we have a lot of carbon, bring it to the greenhouses because they love that stuff. So we can plant more trees, give it to the greenhouses. How much of a problem carbon still is? Well, it doesn't stay that big of a problem. Plastics, we know how to deal with that as well. Not that much of a problem. But they're talking as if we should all get electric cars because electric cars are the summum of whatever we call it. But they're more toxic to the environment than diesels are.
Well, because of the batteries and shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, creating a battery for a car is, it's so polluting. And the worst part is, after a while, those batteries are dead and they can't really fix or how do you call that? Recycle those batteries.
It's not just that, but also if you stick a shitload of batteries in the car, that's a lot of extra weight and therefore power to move the weight.
Yeah.
That is also an issue, and they're far more explosive than fuel is.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they are. Once they go, I mean, there have been a few cars. I mean, you should Google Tesla burning, for example. There have been a few electric cars that just started to start fire. They couldn't put it out. They had to let it burn. Nothing they can do.
Yeah.
And they don't always know why those fires start.
It's like all those Samsung phones that were blowing up in people's pockets.
What do you mean they don't always admit they know why those start?
Well, maybe. And fuel cell cars, far better. I'm not sure about that, Michael Keller. The idea is good. It's a feature. Come on. The fuel cell idea is good, but that too isn't that clean, to be honest.
Wasn't there also a thing about like using heavy water as fuel or some shit?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one way. I mean, you could also go for...
What's it called? Waterstof.
Yeah, hydrogen cars. Ludicrous Leprechaun typed that as well. They're talking about hydrogen cars, but in a country like the Netherlands, that's the worst idea possible.
Oh, okay.
Because the exhaust of a hydrogen car...
Isn't that just water?
Yep. And I don't want to be rude, but I don't want the streets of the highway being flooded with even a thin layer of water in winter.
Oh, God.
So that's...
Have we really had any winters in the last decade?
If you're producing water, you could surely have a tank.
Yeah, but you can't. No, you can't have a tank for the water and a tank for the hydrogen. That would make your car too heavy.
Yeah.
Well, you could use the windmills to generate hydrogen. The thing is, electric windmills, those big iron thingies in the sky, they create a lot of CO2 too. Not so much once they are working, but to make those windmills is not really environment friendly. I mean, imagine this. You have a tower 20 meters high made out of steel. You can't find steel that's 20 meters high, so you have to actually shape it, to say the least.
You have to get the iron, then you have to add carbon to make steel.
So lots of production goes, a lot of energy goes into the production of windmills.
Mm.
And you're right that a lot of windmills have been built already. And we were talking about it a moment ago, how those windmills are being powered with diesel not to break down. It's
because they don't have cables.
Because they don't have the bloody cable. You can't make this shit up. I mean, seriously.
You can. When
we don't have to make it up.
When my wife was undergoing her cancer treatment, they had this brand new treatment suite in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all under plastic. And we said, so why is that not being open then? They said, because we've got no nurses. They got the money in Department X to populate the suite with incredibly expensive equipment. But the people who provided the nurses had no money.
Shit.
So what the hell do you have? Well, nothing.
we have something cool that nobody uses.
Yeah, and it's like because they literally can't join up decision making, and it's that pathetic. It's like surely when you go to decide that, you talk to these people to see if they can support it. Apparently not.
And the funny thing is, there are so many projects out there to do something about the environmental issues that we do have. And none of them require a carbon tax.
Nothing good comes from taxes, especially carbon taxes.
True that.
Taxation is theft, you know.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with that. It's just the problem with the carbon tax is what's the purpose of it?
Mm.
I mean, is it to deter people from polluting? So you're deterring economic activity. Is that a good idea?
No.
And even if you did do those taxes, would the money actually go into preventing more carbon or just to the government?
No, because it's not the role of government anyway. But no, they've been doing it in Britain. They had a rule that said they would increase the tax on fuel every year by so much more than inflation.
Yeah.
And what's it do? It doesn't reduce road usage. It taxes the working poor who have no option but to use their car to go to work, reducing the rest of their money they have for anything else.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to bring this up. Ludicrous made the brilliantest of all things I've seen today. We should put the biggest burden of carbon tax on vegans because they're actually destroying the very thing eating the CO2. Which is true, for fuck's sake. Oh, well, I'm a vegan. Well, bastard, you're the problem then, aren't you?
Yeah. And stop producing methane.
Stop producing methane.
My friend, whenever he hears that somebody is vegan, he goes, "So you're vegan, right? Do you care about like animals in the fucking jungles where tofu comes from? Yeah, then fucking stop eating tofu, you dick."
But I'd just like to say that my nephew's a vegan, and he's actually a cool vegan who hates vegans. So they do exist.
Oh well, yeah. Hell, I know gays hating gays. To be honest, it's not so much that they hate, but the how do you call them? The righteous ones, the holier than thou ones.
Yeah, well, it's the activists. Oh, yeah. It's like all groups. It's not the group; it's the activists.
Dude, I knew this girl who was a vegetarian, I think, but she like at the big gathering of longboarders, she still fucking barbecued meat and shit, and whatever. She's all like, as long as I'm not eating it, I'm cool.
But the funny thing is, and I can't find it fast now, but the funny thing is, planting trees is actually a good idea to get rid of carbon.
Yeah, of course.
But no one talks about planting trees. I know that in the Netherlands, we used to have trees everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then they stopped caring. And the government in certain places is actually in favor of removing trees from the fields because it's better for something.
No, it's worse for erosion. I know that much.
Yeah, they're great.
Tree roots bind the soil.
Yeah,
just as the ancient Greeks.
Oh yeah.
Let me see.
That was in some kind of documentary I watched too, when they before they reduced reintroduced wolves into the one of those national parks. I can't remember which one. Like everything was fucked, and then they introduced wolves, and like the deer stopped grazing on all the grass, so the soil kept together better and changed the whole ecosystem.
But that's the thing, though.
That's quite interesting.
The more we meddle, the harder it gets. Though, in all fairness, there are some things we should meddle in, because in Europe, in the last 3,000 years, the people living in Europe actually kept the forests clean.
Yeah.
Which they chopped them all down in Britain, so
Yeah, well, that's a problem. But in Europe, in most European countries, they would get small twigs and whatnot from the ground, so that the trees could grow clearly. And every once and again, they would chop a few trees down because, well, building material, obviously. But they kept it clean. But if we look at California, for the last 20 years, California has let the shrubbery go unchecked. They left dead trees and left dead branches laying on the floor. And last year, they had massive forest fires.
Yeah, but forest fires are a natural part of the cycle.
Yep.
Well, they are, but that's one of the reasons why in Europe, people...
build your house in amongst the trees because forest fires are part of the cycle.
Yeah, but this is one of the reasons why for the longest time, and we're talking about 3,000 years at least, that people clean the forest around them. Why? A clean forest doesn't get forest fires as fast. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely far more likely. Because trees themselves, they really burn badly. It's the branches and the underbrush that burns like wildfire.
Have you ever tried to set a tree on fire? That shit's difficult, bro.
It's impossible. I mean, wood burns at around a temperature of 800 degrees. You need 1,200 degrees at least to get the bark of a tree that's still connected to the tree burning. Wood fire itself isn't enough. You need a lot of wood fire to set the bark of a tree burning. And even then, you will not burn the trunk. Because those forest fires in California, most of the trees survived it.
Well, we went to Madeira after they'd had some fires. And trust me, there was nothing left. I've got photos to prove it.
Then they are very old trees, or they were dry.
They weren't huge trees. They were little shrubby trees that hung onto the side of the hill. But it was desolation.
Well, I believe that. Okay, so how much CO2 can a tree absorb in one day? I'm not 100% sure, but this is from answer.com, based on the average of 7.5 to 13 kilo per year, divided that by... So they're saying that the average tree can do 7.5 to 13 kilo a year of CO2. So that's 0.036 kilogram per day. But let's go back to the year. Let's say on average then, because they say 7.5 to 13. So one tree, 1 year, 10 kilograms. I've seen bigger numbers than that though.
I hate averages. It's all bullshit.
Well, true that.
No, I mean seriously.
No, you're right.
Because there's a tree. How much carbon does it take in? No idea. Literally, the figures cannot even approximate it because the age of the tree, the type of the tree, the environmental conditions, etc., etc., etc. And it's irrelevant. You don't do things by the tree. You do things by thousands of trees or tens of thousands of trees, not by the tree.
I read an article. It's in Dutch, so I will not bother with it now. But I read an article that basically said that in the 90s in Europe, we started chopping down a lot of trees. The period before that, we grew trees, but since the 90s, we've been chopping them down mostly. I don't know why. Apparently, that's what the article said.
Because I remember back in the 70s, they were talking about the need to plant trees.
I know that too. Hell, in the Netherlands, you could actually get subsidies for planting trees, but they stopped with the subsidies. So
people stopped doing it.
No, but there was never a push to cut down trees.
Yeah,
conservation and replacement were always a thing way back.
No, unfortunately, they have been pushing for the chopping as well. But they know
who's they and who's pushing?
The governments.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
To keep because if you look at lanes in the countryside, it used to be that they had a lot of trees on both sides of them. But then they decided it would be better if we removed those trees because drunk drivers would kill themselves by planting their car against a tree.
So
Which just proves my point I said earlier. We need to get rid of politicians.
Well, I agree with that one.
Fucking
like, so what?
morons.
It's their own fucking fault for driving drunk in the first place. Leave
Well,
the
no,
poor
I mean,
trees alone, bro.
You know, 80% of people live in urban environments, and you have lampposts.
But we could do more.
Just as fatal as any tree.
We could do a lot more, to be honest. But it's frustrating because we have so much. As Renovatio said, the Chinese are decimating African trees, but nobody talks about that.
Yeah. And the Brazilians chopping down huge areas of the rainforest.
But we don't plant. Well, we do, but we don't plant a lot of trees.
Who's we?
Well, the people, the governments, everyone actually. In this case, we is everyone.
Because tax breaks for planting trees has been a thing in Britain. In fact, I think that might be the scandal that Jimmy Carr got into.
I'm not sure if it still is, though. I know there used to be some program in the Netherlands, but they stopped about that long ago. I've been looking, for example, if I were rich enough, I would try to buy myself a little patch of land and place a bunch of trees. But yeah, that's the one thing people seem to not understand. You don't plant trees to see the benefit yourself. Your children and your children's children will see the benefit.
Yeah, but you were talking about government a minute. You know, it's like there's two sides to this.
Well, in this, the governments follow the stupidity of people. Oh,
no, the government's lead.
See, if I look at my grandparents, my grandfather planted a tree, and I was a kid back then, and I never understood why he planted a tree. It wasn't a fruit tree; it was just a tree, and I never understood. And he said, and I didn't understand it then. Trust me, I didn't understand it. He said to me, "I'm planting a tree so you can sit in the shade." But there wasn't a shade, so I really didn't understand it. After my grandfather died, I started realizing what he meant. But that's the thing. People think about 4 years plans, 10 years plans if you're lucky. Nobody looks further into the future than 10 years. Especially not governments. Governments look to the next election cycle, it seems.
So that's like every 4 years?
Yeah. And by that, they jump around on every stupid flavor of the day issue that they can think of, instead of actually doing something to help our societies and our world.
Okay, so I'm going to post something.
Yes.
In the chat.
Hi, Ruby Badilla. Welcome to the stream.
And it's
hello.
It's got various bits in it. Number of trees on Earth over time, but there's also a graph showing how many trees are in the UK, and you can see that it's gone up massively between 1996 and 2014.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of graphs, so annual tree loss.
Yeah, so that's the global, the annual tree loss is the first one. Then the second one is how many trees are there in the world, and then the third one is how many trees in the UK.
Okay, well, yeah, no, that's a good thing, to be honest. So they planted a lot of them.
As I say, it's been a government policy to plant trees in the country for a long time. Well, which is why what you're saying doesn't accord with me, because, as I say, the British attitude has been, let's plant lots of trees.
Well, I'm glad that the British aren't that stupid, but if I look at the rest of Europe, the rest of Europe isn't as frugal. Is frugal the right word? I think it is.
No, frugal means not spending.
Well, diligent then?
Diligent, yeah, that's a good word.
So, yeah. But it's the same. That now in Europe, people are talking about France because France is so bad because they have nearly all their energy comes from nuclear. So that's a problem. But it's the cleanest form of energy there is. And France didn't have any huge problems with their nuclear plants. Maybe I should say yet, but still.
No, I mean, the problem is all this subject is highly politicized. It's not scientific. And you have to attack a subject like this scientifically, not ideologically.
It's not the same with drugs, though. They like prohibited drugs for the longest time, and now they're researching all sorts of use for
Legalize them all.
For cannabis, and I keep hearing more and more about ketamine, and I keep hearing more and more about MDMA.
No, legalize them all because the illegal drug trade does more harm than drugs ever could.
Yeah, but that's not what I was talking about.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm AFK for a sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah, but
like you have this idea, oh my God, drugs are bad, blah, blah, blah.
No, they're not.
And now it's all like, oh, look at all the benefits these drugs have.
But it's like everything else, you know, there's a rush to judgment and it's all based on, you know, how it plays in the public.
And that's the weird thing also, because I watched this interview with, I don't know, some sort of expert on addiction. And he's like, most of the drug users you don't even really see. We kind of only focus on everyone whose lives got fucked up by it.
Yeah.
Not the people who use it recreationally every once in a while. You know?
Well, as I say, my attitude is purely the illegal drug trade is so harmful to society. Prohibition doesn't work. Don't prohibit, regulate.
That's the same with nuclear, I guess. It's all these fear mongering, but it's the cleanest form of energy out there.
Well, you see, I mean, as somebody of more advanced years, one of the problems is people carry baggage from the past. So nuclear was a very emotive subject in the Cold War.
Well, of course.
C&D, and that's the kind of
because people think of nuclear bombs instead of energy.
Well, and it's all tied in, you see. You know, you had 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, long before Fukushima or whatever it's called. You know, you had these well-publicized nuclear accidents, and you know,
we haven't figured out the technology then, I suppose.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? And so you have to factor in time as a factor. Yes.
Yeah.
Because
so what our grandchildren will probably be like, oh my God, I can't believe they ran all these stupid shit.
Yeah, but we're figuring it out. This is the trouble. You look at history, and 50 years is nothing. You live through 50 years, and it's like forever.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
So I have noticed about time, when you look forward, it drags on forever. And if you look back, it's like, oh, damn, it's like I'm 33 years of age already.
Well, the way I look at it is this. I was born 17 years after the end of World War II, World War I, honest. World War II, 17 years. 17 years ago was this century.
Yep.
So it was no time at all, and yet it seemed like forever, because by the time I was old enough to sort of like take note of things, obviously a number of years had then passed, make it say 27 years, but even then it seemed like forever before.
Yeah.
But the last 17 years, they're like almost past the stuff I'm interested in. You know, it's like, oh, it's pop music from the 2000s. I don't know that. A film from the 2000s? No, past my time. I don't care about that. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, it's both 17 years, and yet one is just part of my past, and the other was before I was born, and yet they weigh fundamentally differently in my mind.
Oh, of course. Dude, if you look at history, millennia is like nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at recounting of history, and it tends to be very compressed.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get, the last 100 years, it takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and then this 600 years between the Romans and 1066, half an hour.
Yep.
Okay, that's very UK centric, but you know what I mean. It's like,
Yeah, you hear people like, if you look at the history of the entire Earth, we're just but a blip on the radar, you know.
yeah, humans are absolutely 200,000 years. It's nothing.
And manage to look how much shit we fucked up.
That's the thing. People keep talking about how much shit we fucked up, but there's absolutely no proof for it.
Yeah. Also because we tend to focus on the negative, I think, for the
But
most
it's
part.
not just that we tend to focus on the negative. We tend to blame us. No, not so much blame ourselves. We tend to think we're important enough that we are actually the ones in power.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so many animals have died. Okay, you know what? Humans can actually feel guilty for the death of the dodo.
Yep. Literally.
We had
They
nothing to
ate
do
them.
with Dodo.
They ate them.
Yep. Terrible bird, tasted like shit, but they ate them anyway.
Look, if you've been on a sailing boat for 3 months without meat, fresh meat is fresh meat.
That Dodo's beginning to look very tasty.
and it doesn't run away, so it's easy to catch.
Yeah, because it didn't know to be scared of humans because it never seen them.
Well, it's the same in New Zealand, where there are all kinds of ground nesting birds, like the kiwi, because they didn't have the land predators to stop them.
Yeah.
Then we introduced the domestic cat.
And now they're fucked. Yeah, but it's true though. And we're talking about how so many things go wrong. And the earth is warming. Yeah, obviously it is. We're at the end of an ice age. The earth have gone through this several times.
Sure.
It's not the hottest it is now than it has ever been because we know.
Oh, not by a long way.
No, there have been periods that have been far warmer. But that had nothing to do with humans. Because we know of certain areas when there were no humans. Well, but the amount of CO2 in the air, it's never been so high. Again, not true. Because if we look at the old ice, and they have done this, they can dig into the ice and take the ice out, and they can measure how much CO2 was in the air when that ice froze. There have been periods with far more CO2 in the air than now.
Probably a lot of volcanoes bursting and shit.
Probably. Because we still don't know what actually causes the heating of the planet. And somehow no one is...
Well, you say that. They know that there are variations in the orbit. They know that there are, I forgot what they call it, there's this thing where the Earth axis tilts.
Yep.
And the tilt wobbles.
Wobbles.
So you're more upright sometimes and less upright other times. And this has a climatic effect. There are... the sun heats up and cools down a little bit.
Yeah.
So they do know that there are factors that influence.
They do know it, but they ignore it.
When you say they, there's no they.
There are days in this case. The welfare, no, not welfare. Sorry.
Yeah, but they are not part of the argument, because the they that count in this case are the scientists, and the scientists do know. The fact that morons with an axe to grind ignore that is part
but
of the
morons
culture.
are driving the discussion.
I'm sure they are, but that's part of the course. Just as the morons claim all kinds of shit that isn't true. Wage gap and all that.
But the problem is that they're actually creating taxes based on this lie.
Shit.
It's tiring, I guess. I think that's the best way to respond. But yeah, no, it's worrying. But instead of actually fixing the problem, which we can by planting trees and cleaning up the plastics in the ocean, we pretend that we can't do anything. So we have kids laying flat in the Hague protesting climate change, or we've got idiots in France throwing fake blood on what's it, the stairs of the.
Oh, it's all bullshit.
Well, it is, but these people are.
If you see a stunt, you know it's bullshit. You just have to work out why.
True. Well, they have to work out why, but you can't talk to these people. I mean,
of course you can't.
Well, yeah.
I keep telling you, do not talk to ideologues. It's a waste of energy and a waste of sanity. Don't talk to ideologues. I mean, what was that thing about the feminist energy? You know, take the ideologues, put them in somewhere, capture the hot air, and run a power station. Simple.
I love that one article that said that I can't remember, it was probably Sweden or something, that they cleaned up a whole bunch of shit regarding the snow because women walk everywhere.
Oh, you talking about the
traffic
Stockholm?
collapsed.
No, the Stockholm snow clearing.
Yeah,
feminist. What was it? Feminist snow plowing.
yeah, something like that.
I know that's a well-known case.
That was so funny. I was just like, well, duh. Focus on the important shit before you focus on other things. You know?
That was very funny. It really was.
Sometimes I think, let's just run with it, so that we can once and for all put it to rest that it's a horrible idea.
Now, first thing, feminists have no memory.
No, that's true.
No, they have no memory. How many times is it the first woman to do X, even though lots of women have done X before, but it's always the first time a woman's done X. Shit. Over and over and over and over. There's never been a woman doing this before, except for all the previous times, but they'll be ignored because that's not the message.
Yeah, the latest one was Captain Marvel, and it's like, bitch, Sigourney Weaver, alien. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's not even the first Marvel superhero.
Of course.
Yeah,
not.
but she's the first Marvel superhero in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, she's not.
Jean Grey and fucking who the hell? There's so many others, man.
I mean, even in the Avengers series, they had other female superheroes. Yeah, but they never got their own movie. Yeah, why the fuck not? I would watch a Black Widow movie. That character is rounded, and I'm not mean physically, but as
also physically.
Well, also physically, yes. I mean, I don't mind watching Black Widow for a long time. Have you seen Captain Marvel?
No.
Ah,
I'm not sure if I want to watch it or not.
it was really bad.
But I watched a lot of Tim Pool, and he was going on about Wonder Woman all the time, and how that's a great movie. And then it came on Netflix, and I'm like, let's watch Wonder Woman.
Why?
It was fun.
What was her name? Lindsay Wagner. That was Wonder Woman.
The original one.
The one on telly in my era.
Yeah,
the original one. Yeah, she was fun. Though I have to admit, Gal Gadot did do a good Wonder Woman as well. The movie was pretty based. It made sense. It was a good story. I mean, yeah, okay, there are always things you can bitch and moan about, but the Wonder Woman movie wasn't bad.
Captain Marvel, everybody that I follow is just saying it's
first rule of economics: don't give them money. It'll only encourage them to do more. Don't
True
give
that.
them money.
The thing is, they've bloated the figures because they pretended Captain Marvel did really well. But I've seen so many stories on people telling us that they went to Captain Marvel during the opening weekend, and they were told the venues were sold out, and they had only a few people sitting in there, and most of the venues were empty.
So,
They ran the movie to empty halls, so to speak,
Why?
to pretend that they were doing well. And apparently
Why?
they did the same with
We're going to discourage your tickets sale to pretend we're doing well instead of
no, they're
actually
not.
doing well.
They are not doing it to to limit your ticket sales, because you will still see the movie. But if you can't today,
Only if you're not put off.
sorry,
Only if you're not put off.
I don't understand what you mean now.
The tickets were bought, but who bought them? Ludicrous. That's my point. If it was the cinema companies, they only bought their own tickets.
Disney bought them.
Yeah, that's what I said. So they bought their own tickets. So they
Yes.
actually made a loss.
Well,
Because if Disney make them, and the cinema gets the money, Disney are paying the cinema. So Disney is making a loss.
no, not really, because
Yes, that's how economics works.
John, let me explain this. And this is something you do understand, so I'm not quite sure why I'm explaining this. But if the movie comes out
Mhm.
and it has a lot of flack, and everyone is talking about how crap the movie is, no one goes to see it. But if a lot of people go to see it, then other people are enticed to go and see it as well.
mhm.
Yeah, but that's the hope. But it's not a guarantee. And on the ticket, if the filmmaker pays the cinema to show its film, it is costing it money.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I
they're
say.
inflating their numbers, and therewith they are creating, how do you call it?
Lie.
Perception.
A lie.
Well, yes, all of those things. And they've done the same to Avengers. Now, probably not as much as the Marvel movie, because Avenger did well in the box office. But they can now say that Captain Marvel did well in the box office, even though one could seriously argue whether they actually did or not. And the same seems to be true, as I said, for Avengers, because Endgame had a great opening weekend as well. But I already heard stories of people being in empty halls.
I watched Thor on the TV.
Which
And
one?
What a pile of fucking excrement it was. What a
Which one?
terrible story.
I like Thor.
And I thought, and people rave about this. Obviously, I'm not tuned in.
Mhm.
Now, all power to you if you like that kind of thing, but it's not for me. I see
Yep.
zero attraction. But then again, I am the ultimate heretic. I think Star Wars is shit. So there you go.
Yeah. I only watched The Phantom Menace, and the rest of them I
No, I only watched the first one.
Yeah, Phantom Menace was crap.
That's the only one I saw, and I liked it. But after that, I was never really into Star Wars that much.
No, I watched the first one. Which one was it?
That's like episode
Episode
3 or something. the first
5?
one?
Episode 4.
Four.
Episode 4 was the first one.
Yeah, that's the only one I saw.
Weird ass fucking order, but yeah.
You got to give George Lucas something. I mean, that's some chutzpah to start with episode 4.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, there are people who complain that he did that to pretend that it was a successful series and they blah, blah, blah. But the reason it started with episode...
Really?
Yeah. But the
Which
reason...
he didn't say that.
Oh, I can't remember where I read that.
Yeah, but it's by the kind of idiot who knows nothing and just wants to sound clever. I mean,
Well, it's
being around at the time, no one thought it wasn't the first ever film in the Star Wars.
I know. But the reason why he called it episode 4 is because they are based on they are based on books.
Yep.
He didn't invent the story. He filmed it. But he couldn't do 1, 2, and 3 because the technology wasn't there to make it doable, apparently. So that's why he started with the 4th one.
Do you hear that they're going to remake
fairy story.
I'm sorry, I can't hear the both of you at once.
Smokers?
John?
No, Smokers.
Oh, I was going to say, have you heard that they're going to remake Frank Herbert's Dune again? With the more focus on the female characters?
Fuck's sake.
I mean, they can. I don't care. I don't think there is...
It won't work.
Obviously not. But, I mean, Dune is a great movie.
Oh,
no, it's
God,
not.
yes.
It's a bastardization of the book.
And Children of Dune I like as well. I rewatched them over and over and over again. To this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still need to get the books and read them.
But no, the reason they made the 4th episode of Star Wars first is because it's a classic fairy story.
Paula Atreides. Indeed ludicrous. Sorry.
Paul Atreides, yeah.
Paula.
Oh, yeah. It's probably going to focus more on the Reverend Mother and shit. Lady Jessica.
But I'm thinking, can you remember in Dune, you had those big creatures living in a tank?
Yeah,
no, they weren't creatures. They were the navigators.
Yeah,
they were the navigators who were mutated humans who were the people who warped space-time so that the ships could travel.
Yeah, and they need spice.
And they needed spice, but that spice warped them.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, in the new feminist movie, the new female movie, which one will be the feminist? Will it be the worms on Atreides?
Not Atreides. Atreides is the man.
I know.
Atreides is the family.
Yeah, the planet was called different, I know, but I can't remember. Arrakis, that's the one.
Sands of Dune.
Yes. So who will be the feminist? The navigator or
it's the
yeah, it's probably the
no.
mother and his wife and all those people.
No, it's his mother. Yeah, it's his mother and the that whole female
the Bene Gesserit.
Bene Gesserit, them. Yeah. So it's all based on them and the fact that and this is a brilliant piece of how they're going to spin this. So the whole point about the Bene Gesserit is all these women for thousands of years had this power no man had, and yet the ultimate success of their line was to produce a man who could do it, and he would be the all-powerful.
Wasn't that something they wanted to avoid at all costs?
No, that was the actual objective.
Oh, okay. See,
because they have this.
Books, so I don't know all that shit.
Yeah, because they have this funny little box thing, and you put your thumbs in it.
The pain-inducing box, yeah.
Yeah, and no man could endure it.
The nerve induction box, something like that.
Yeah, and so when there's a man who could endure it, that was the man who was, the ultimate.
Yeah,
all the Atreides could do it.
But it's weird that they do everything they can to create a divide in people, don't they?
It seems like.
I mean, I've actually saw. I'm not sure if it's a trailer for a new movie or something like that, but I actually saw a female Captain Britain.
Captain Britain?
Yeah, Captain Britain is a Marvel character as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Was she in a bowler hat with a brolly?
I've only seen her in the trailer.
I'm sorry, it's just
male Captain Britain.
Captain America, Captain Britain with a bowler hat and a brolly.
No, the original Captain Britain was a burly dude. I mean,
I'm sorry. In comparison. The whole concept cracks me up. This is all bullshit.
Well, it's kind of funny because Captain Britain I mean, let me put it like this. I like Marvel comics. I've read them for a long time. You had the American ones, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Captain America, Iron Man, the X-Men. Marvel also went to other countries, so to speak. So you had the defenders of Canada. I forgot the name, but they had Alpha Force, Alpha One. And Wolverine also worked together with them. And then you had like the British Avengers, called differently, but I can't remember.
The British Avengers was long. It was a 60s thing.
Yeah. No, not those Avengers. Now you're talking about...
the Avengers in Britain. Steve and Purdy and
Emma Peel.
No. Well, I thought it was Avengers.
But those are different Avengers. I'm talking about the Avengers.
They are the British Avengers. We will accept no substitutes.
I care little about that, but I'm talking about the Marvel comic ones.
Yeah, well, those bloody freeloaders nicking our ideas.
Fair enough.
Sorry, yeah.
But
Captain
America was a superhero, a Marvel superhero from Britain.
There was a TV series, I forget what it was called. And it was about this woman who was British, and she'd known Captain America in the war, and he died, and she went and joined the FBI and blah 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 or something.
I would.
It was quite good. She was very pretty.
See you later, Michael Cullen.
Oh, see you later, Michael. But back to the story I'm talking about, because now they've got Captain Marvel, which used to be...
Agent Carter, thank you, Ludicrous, yes.
Back to my story again. So you had a British superhero team in the Marvel Universe, where Captain America was their leader, and he was like a powerhouse. He was kind of like Wonder Man in America. Wonder Man, by the way, no one knows about him anymore, but he used to be one of the original, well, not the original.
But he always uncertain because he always had to wonder about stuff.
No. But he is one of the Avengers that actually fought against, what's his face, Thanos. In the original story, the story that this movie is only based on the name, because the rest of the story is vastly different. So what was I saying? So the Captain Britain, the English didn't have anything to do with it. It's a Marvel invention, and now they are making Captain Britain a woman again. The funny thing is, they're not making her a woman again because she never was a woman.
You mean like all those female soldiers in World War II in that stupid video?
Yeah. And I mean, there were female soldiers.
Yeah,
Russian, yes. I think Norway also had some female soldiers. Not a lot.
The White Death.
Well, there were female pilots. There were lots of female pilots, actually. Most of them didn't fly combat missions, though. They just flew planes between airfields in the country. Especially in the UK, there were lots of female pilots flying planes to once they were repaired back to the locations where they were going to be used.
So basically, a lot of transport.
Yeah, which is still important. So I'm not going to knock it.
Dude, I kind of left the whole plot of the conversation after the Doom.
Yeah, we were more or less done anyway. It was a fun talk so far.
Yeah.
Anyone have anything interesting to say? Because we seem we're losing a lot. Bye for the people who are leaving, by the way.
Huh? Only MK left.
Lots of people have left.
Well, it is late.
It is time, actually. Time flies.
Yeah.
Dude, we're at our 2 hours again. Or 3.
Dog's rule, that is all.
Nearly 2.
I warped. I understand you,
Don't rule.
but
They do a better job than our politicians if they did warped.
well, I wouldn't say that, John.
You
But-
wouldn't say dogs would do a better job than our politicians. I would definitely say they would.
Dude, isn't there some city in America where they have a dog as mayor forever now?
I didn't know that. But considering you're saying America, I'm willing to believe it.
Well, they used to say
Minnesota, I believe. I'm not too sure.
that there were constituencies in Sheffield, where I'm from, that they could put a donkey up for election for Labour and he'd win, or she'd win. If it's
Well, who knows?
Real ass ruling shit.
Anyway, do we have any famous last words for tonight?
famous last words. Kiss me, Hardy.
I'll use base mama's words. Take care of yourself and each other.
I wonder how she's doing. I haven't been able to reach her.
No, I don't
Probably hard.
Well, Base Mama, if you're still out there, we still love you, no matter the bullshit that happened.
Nope.
And listen, if you want to get back to it, you're always welcome to join us.
I miss my internet.
For now, I don't think she will ever see this, to be honest. But for now, guys, this is it for tonight. Thank you all for coming, and hope to see you all next week. Or Saturday. I think we might do an old fart stream.
What?
Well, John and I have been doing old fart streams.
Oh, yeah.
One old fart and an older fart.
And I'm older, so I'm the older.
I don't think I've seen any of them yet.
Well, we've only done 2. So.
We actually managed to keep the last one to an hour.
Yeah, which is quite good. Anyway, see you all next time, and I'm going to push the